Hey guys, you know, with the announcement officially made on New Year's at midnight on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2019, that AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is now going to officially is now officially a reality. And the first major event is going to be called Double or Nothing. It's gotten the wrestling world and the IWC internet wrestling community a buzz about what potentially could be, about potentially what could be heading our way within the next year or so. Now, according to reports, because of the people behind AEW, the Carr family, who run the Jacksonville Jaguars and have had success in sports and other venues, as well as along with Cody and the Young Bucks, who've proven that they can actually promote a wrestling event on their own outside of WWE. According to numerous reports, AEW already seems to have enough footing in the door to get things rolling. Like right now, they have the people they need for behind the scenes stuff, backstage and all that. One of the other big things is they're working on television deals, but we don't know who they're going to be dealing with. One of the major networks and cable channels in the works being named off is WGN America. And that's great and everything because they are a nationwide network, but they're also kind of very local as well because of the fact that, in case I'm wrong, they still have their version of the 10 o'clock news, which mainly covers the Chicago area or the Chicago region. That being said, like I said, with that being said, WGN America does seem like a good choice, but in my honest opinion, I see them being more of a secondary channel for maybe a secondary AEW broadcast or show in the future. Because if I'm AEW, I want to have a bigger network. I want to try to negotiate and deal with a network that I know is going to have a far wider reach than WGN America. And the network I'm thinking, and the networks that I want to deal with are Paramount, in my opinion, because they've had experience in wrestling as Spike TV. Pop TV, who's going to be losing Impact, so they'd want something in its place. And something like AEW, I think, would definitely be something they could sink their teeth into, because that would be a wrestling program people would tune into Pop TV to see, and even order cable packages that have Pop TV just to check it out. The other one I think could be a good choice is, believe it or not, CBS Sports Network. Hear me out. CBS Sports, of course, broadcasts NFL games. So what better place to maybe put in a wrestling program than with the network, on a network that, in a sense, the Carr family, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, that are part of the NFL, are associated with. So those are some of the options I would look at if I'm AEW, if I'm the Carr family, if I'm Cody Rhodes, if I'm the Young Bucks. Again, not saying WGN America is not a good choice, but for some cable outlets like what I have, for some cable outlets in the regions like where I'm at, we get WGN America, but we only get it on demand. You want to have something that people can tune in right when it airs, not 24 hours later. Now, the other thing I would think they would also want to look into is internet streaming. So just in case, let's say they end up getting WGN America, which again is not a bad choice. Not a bad choice whatsoever. But if they get WGN America, they're going to want to make sure to have something like a YouTube and a Twitch channel to back them up, so that people that can't get WGN America can still tune in, maybe live at certain times, or tune into the premieres at the times the shows are supposed to premiere on WGN, and watch them from there. So if you can't get WGN, YouTube or Twitch would be a good option as well to watch it at the same time as broadcast on WGN. Hopefully they're looking into all those avenues. They already got, like I said, certain roles already defined. They got some backstage behind the scenes roles already defined, like who's going to be in charge of what and stuff. But now and apparently they're growing the roster as we speak. The roster is growing as we speak. But the question is, the question that I think a lot of people would have, is AEW going to be the success they need it to be? I mean, they can have all this money, which is a lot of money, backing them up by this family, probably more so than Vince McMahon can even think of. But the question would be, will they be a success? Will they be the success they need to be to succeed as a company? I think they have the potential. They have the resources. They have the potential. They have everything in place. But the question is, will they be able to pull it off in the long run and succeed? I think when it does debut, it's going to be successful. People are going to be talking about it and watching it. But will it be able to continue that momentum? Because one thing that Mike Johnson and Dave Schumacher, I think, mentioned on PW Insider Elite is the potential of what WWE can do in response. Because even though WWE doesn't act like they notice, they do. I mean, honestly, they notice about Impact. They know them. They notice about Ring of Honor. They know that. Point is, WWE does take notice. I mean, if you want a good example of that, take a look at the hissy fit they threw over at MSG. After MSG said, yeah, Ring of Honor, New Japan, we'll do a show for you. They tried their best and almost succeeded in making sure the G1 Super Show would not happen. Almost succeeded. See what I'm saying? WWE will take notice. And one thing Johnson and Schumacher brought up was the fact that they could potentially, if they see AEW as a threat in competition to them, is they could basically do what they've done in the past. They could basically have the stroke, if you will, to look at the venues that run their shows and potentially could run AEW, and they could say it's either them or us. Who's it going to be? And even though the Kaw family has a lot of money to back this up and make this happen, along with Cody and the Young Bucks, McMahon still has more money than them combined. Let's be honest. He does have more money than the Kaw family. And he does have a lot of pull, if you know what I mean. And if a venue says, well, we want to run AEW, Vince could be like, okay, well, you're not going to run us. And Vince will find a way not only to no longer do business with them, but he'll put, knowing WWE, they'll put in a bad word for that venue, saying, yeah, this is what this venue does. This is how they do their policies. So WWE does have the stroke to do that. I will agree with Johnson and Schumacher on that. So All Elite Wrestling, the Kaw family, which is Kahn, Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks, and whoever else is involved, has to be careful about what they do. And believe it or not, AEW is doing whatever they can to bring in, like I said, build a roster. Johnson and Schumacher said that AJ Styles is the kind that could fit in with that because it would promise a lot of schedule, but WWE would not want to lose someone like AJ Styles to AEW, so WWE would give AJ Styles what he wants. It's a similar situation with Daniel Bryan. They didn't want to lose Daniel Bryan because they knew contractually, once his contract is up, Daniel could have showed up at the All In event with no worries, with no what's the word I'm looking for? No clause in any contracts to hold him back. He would have been able to be free. He would have been able to do it, without any problems. He would have a lot of leeway. Basically his contract, when it came up, would have given him a lot of leeway to do that. But WWE didn't want that to happen, so they signed Daniel to the contract he wanted, on the condition that he had to go in directions that maybe they would be okay with him and he wouldn't be okay with. But as long as he got kind of the schedule he wanted, there you go. The same could be said for AJ Styles. If WWE knows that AEW could try to lock him up and give him that lighter schedule, WWE is going to not hesitate once to keep him on board. They'll give him what he wants just to keep him. And you see, that's what AEW has to look out for as well. They want certain talent, but especially if it's WWE talent that could be, free to go within this next year, and maybe several months from now. But WWE won't let that happen because they'll do whatever it takes to keep those talents on board. And then that is where AEW also has to be careful. You could sign up and lock up all these talents, and that's great, and you could probably have the venues you feel are necessary to sell out and attract fans to, and have the television deal and everything. But you got to remember, WWE has you on the radar, and WWE, if they start feeling that AEW is becoming a threat, then they're going to basically say, enough's enough, playtime's over. They'll find a way to basically lower the boom on AEW. Now, do I hope AEW succeeds? Absolutely, because we do need another alternative to WWE, and hopefully something that would make WWE wake up and realize, hey, you have to get better. You have to go back to what brought you to the dance, and it might be going back to an edgier product if you need to. And maybe putting more emphasis on the in-ring action instead of just the sketches and all that. But that's all depending on what happens. You see, that potentially could happen, and potentially WWE could find a way to basically, like I say, lower the boom. They could. But again, like I said, I hope they succeed, because in a sense, if they succeed, it makes WWE want to succeed once again and surpass them as the #1 wrestling promotion and company in the world. So I hope AEW succeeds, because in a sense, that would help WWE to succeed and get better and become who they once were and what people enjoyed. But then again, that could be a detriment to AEW as well, because in the long run, if they succeed in becoming successful and becoming a promotion people want to see, and wrestlers and wrestlers of all kinds, men and women, want to be part of, that's great. But in the long run, if they succeed in doing that, and thus they succeed in getting people like companies like Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and WWE to kick up their game and basically say, we're not going to be outdone by this company, this upstart company or anything, then that could be a detriment, because basically then not only would it cause these other promotions to up their game, but it's going to cause these other promotions to become a more attractive option to anybody that wants to continue the run. Especially for the WWE, it's going to make them look more attractive to want to be part of that. So if I'm AEW, All Elite Wrestling, yeah, I hope they succeed, but I hope they're careful in what they're doing. I really do, because if they're not careful, folks, the success could be their downfall. The succession could mean their downfall if they're not careful. They got to be careful about how they promote, who they sign, what venues they go to, and more so, they got to be careful. Basically, in not becoming. Well, again, becoming a success, I would like to see, no doubt, everybody would, but not becoming so much of a success that basically it causes other promotions like WWE and Ring of Honor and Impact, like I said, Ring of Honor, like Impact, like WWE, to kick up the game even more so. So yeah, AEW succeed and become a success and help the other promotions to succeed, but try to basically minimize, or I wouldn't say minimize, I would say if I'm AEW and I succeed, and I hope they do, and I hope the other companies out there to step up their game and become the companies they know they can become, then I kind of level it out is what I do. Once I hit that mark, I level it out to where, okay, we could stay at this level and people will still like us, but it won't cause the other promotions, to get any better than what they become. Because if they get better and better, that becomes a detriment to AEW, because basically the success could mean failure, because now suddenly these men and women that have signed with AEW will see that, oh, WWE is a huge attractive option. They're good. They're getting better. Impact's getting better. Ring of Honor's getting better. I want to be part of that. So they got to be careful about how they succeed and how they help these other promotions succeed in the end. So that's really all I'm going to say on it, guys. That's really all I'm going to say on it. But again, I hope AEW does succeed, but they need to be careful about how much success they will get, how much success they will let go to their heads, they will allow them to have, before that success encourages and puts an impression on these other promotions to be better. Because if they over succeed, that could be a downfall, because these other promotions will want to do the same thing, but they'll find a way to moderate it to where, hey, this is what you want, folks, here you go, but we're going to level it out. So hopefully AEW, the Carr family, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Page, and whoever else is involved, I hope they know what they're doing, because they got quite the journey in front of them. No matter what television network they land on, or who they sign with, or how people are able to view the event, or what venues they're able to get. All I know is, in the end, all I'm going to say is this: I hope they succeed, but I hope they don't overly succeed, because that will, yes, do what needs to be done, encourage other promotions to get better, but it might over-encourage them to the point that they might outdo AEW, and that could be a problem. So let me know what you guys think, though, about AEW showing up, becoming a reality and everything, and how do you think they should approach their success in the future, and do you think they should be careful about not over-succeeding because of what potentially it could do in the end, and for other promotions? Let me know what you think down below, comment if you like, and I'm out.